All right, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Oliver Blue, and I am here on this 122nd day of our journey of transformation. I am so delighted to be your temporary guide. I'm more delighted to be your shared life, to be one with you, to be a part of this tremendous journey of transformation whereby we are doing something. We're being proactive, we're being purposeful, we're being intentional about aligning our life, aligning all parts of our life, our uh, humanity and our divinity, and the mind that thinks it's independent. But, and what we're doing is we're purposely, with intention, bringing harmony into all dimensions of that, of those experiences. And not only with ourselves, but with each other and with the entire world. As we move up the ladder that the ego tried to lead, well, did lead us down, what we're finding out is that as we bring our uh, allusions to the truth, that there begin to arise within our awareness, within our consciousness, there begin to arise a new beginning, a new world. There begin to arise what we call true perception, where we begin to have the same point of view that our Creator has. We begin to have an understanding that our Creator understands. We begin to have the thoughts that originate and emanate from the one Creator. There we begin to experience this unity in this union. We begin to embrace the reality that heaven has not missed or lost one note. Not one note in heaven has been lost. Not one humanity has been not one of God's created offsprings have been doomed, but all is well. And so this is what we are involved in, and it's a wonderful thing here in 2022. With all the other things, all the other distractions, all the other appearances that are in the world that would give us an idea of hopelessness, we have embarked upon that which is full and overflowing with not only hope, but with substance and evidence that we are the thing, that we are the innocent children, we are the innocent creation of God, that we are a part of eternity, that we are a part of what is called reality, or what is called knowledge or truth, that we share in this one timeless, formless, borderless, infinite reality under the one law, the law of God, or the law of love, because love and God are synonymous. We are part of this which is unalterable, this which is eternal. We are a part of that which is unambiguous, meaning that, we don't have a smorgasbord to choose from. There is nothing to choose. There's only the one. We are part of what not only can be recognized, but what can it be experienced. We are part of the changeless. We are part of everything that God created, because only God in love creates reality. God is, and there is nothing else. And we are part of the God is, and we identify that as I am. We are part of that which is beyond learning. It is beyond time and space. It has no opposites, it has no beginning, and it has no end. That is what we are a part of, this one shared reality, this one shared existence, this one shared being that we generally call God. We are what, a part of it. We are one with it. We merely are. And so that makes us what? Thrilled and happy this morning, but there's still work to be done. There's inner work to be done, because remember, that which needs to be what? Brought into the barn. The horse got let out of the barn. Well, we're bringing the horse back into the barn. What is that horse? That is the mind that believed that it was separate. It separated itself from its what? Creator. We're bringing that mind, that mechanism by which we that stands in between that which is real and that which is unreal. We bring that back into the barn of reality. So that which is unreal can be consumed completely by its reality. And so that's where we begin today. And I'm so happy that you are here for another workbook lesson. Workbook lesson 122 out of A Course in Miracles. And today we continue with revisiting what we believe is one of the key components, which it is the key component. Remember, yesterday we said that forgiveness is the key. It's the key to happiness. When something is the key, it means that it has the power to open. It has the power to unlock. It has the power. It has the power to undo. And that's what is happening here. We're understanding that, salvation or awareness or awakening or enlightenment is not something that we do. It's something that is undone. As we undo that which we have made, what is revealed is what was always there. What was always there is our oneness with the Creator. What was always there is our innocence, our wholeness, our completeness, our holiness. What was always there is our purity. What was always there, like it says, the key to forgiveness is what? The key to our happiness is forgiveness. So what was always there is happiness. And we discover that we are self-sustaining, self-energizing. All that we would ever dream of, we already possess it. We just lost our awareness of it. We just fell asleep and forgot where it was. And now we're waking up. Now we're recognizing. Now we're climbing, we're taking steps back up into that place that we never left. We're on a journey without a distance. I know when I'm talking I'm making these proclamations, and I'm doing it purposely. Why? Because these are the things that we've been engaged in. These are some of the ideas and thoughts that should become replaced. These ideas should be replacing the ideas of sin, guilt, and fear that we brought at the beginning of this project. No need to hold on to those things. You don't want them. You don't desire them. What you desire is what I'm talking about. What you desire is the knowing of yourself. To know that you are the holy home of God. To know that you are God. You appear in the person of God. That you are the light of the world. That you are love. This is what you desire. That you have great significance. That your life has meaning, and good meaning. A deep meaning. Your life has deep meaning and good purpose. This is what you desire. That all that you are, all that there is already in your possession. That there's nothing can be added to you because you are all in all. There's nothing that can be taken away from you because there's only you. Isn't this wonderful news? I know it's good, wonderful news. So what we want to do is get right on into workbook lesson 122. Again, talking about the theme of forgiveness. And it says, what could you want? And remember what we said, that forgiveness, the course is the course's brand of forgiveness is different than the world, or different than what we've been taught. Jesus' brand of forgiveness is different than what we have been taught about forgiveness. What we've been taught about forgiveness is that forgiveness is a pardon of someone's wrong, a pardon of somebody's sin. But in the course's brand of forgiveness, or in Jesus' brand of forgiveness, there's a recognition of the real and the unreal. And what happens in unreality has no effect. And so what we perceive as being unfairly treated, or treated wrongly, or been, deceived, or what we've been abandoned, what we think of being abandoned, or what we think of being betrayed, or all of these, experiences that we have that seem so bad and so horrific. The Course says that they have no meaning. Why? Because they happened in a dream. So they're meaningless activities that we chose to experience. But it didn't destroy you. It didn't kill you. You survived. And because you realize now that it was all within it was all happening in a world of unreality. So it has no meaning. It only had meaning because you gave it to him, and you held on to the meaning, and the meaning caused you suffering, and it's still causing some of us suffering, because some of us are still holding on to grievances, holding on to resentment, resenting people, holding grievance against people, because we feel like there should be a punishment or a retribution to them. See, that's the way of the world. But in reality, the Course says nothing happened. And so its brand of forgiveness says what you thought your brother or your sister did to you did not occur. So there's nothing to forgive. There's really nothing to forgive. They were dreaming of being separate, exiled. They were dreaming of being having a lack of love. And so anytime there is this idea of love is not presence, that which replaces it is hatred and division and strife and warring and fighting. That's what replaces it. But it's just an error. It's just a dream. It's just a mistake. And errors and dreams and mistakes can be forgiven. So the Course looks at separation as an error to be corrected. It doesn't make the error real. We make the error real when we feel like we need to hold on to these incidences that happen in our life. We make them real. In other words, we make what is temporary, we try to make it eternal. And that's where the pain and suffering comes in. But the day you wake up, the day you realize, the day you recognize, and that can be today, that forgiveness offers you everything you want. It is the only way out of any seeming unfair treatment. It's the only way out of any seeming betrayal. It's the only way out of any seeming unfair or inequality that you may have experienced. It's the only way out of that which does not make sense, that which makes you a victim. It's the only way out. This is the plan of God. There's no other way. We can search the world over, and we will not find another way. We can walk through the labyrinth or the maze of life trying to create a different plan other than the plan of God. And we will not find another way. We will only suffer. We will only continue to be disappointed. We will only continue to not be able to see the light of day. But the day that you and I, or anyone, have a change of mind and begin to pursue the light and the truth, and begin to do your internal work, to turn within and ask for questions. Seek, you shall find. Knock, and it shall be open. The day that you make that decision that there must be a better way is the day of your salvation. And today is the day of salvation. Salvation meaning not something, doesn't have anything to do with our concept of salvation. It has to do with God's plan. God's plan for salvation is merely a promise or a guarantee that all humanity will eventually come back home. So your day of return as a prodigal is imminent. You will come back home. You will wake up to the truth. You have no choice. It's unambiguous. You have no choice. What God created has not been altered. You remain as God created you in your reality, in your timelessness, in your formlessness. That has not been altered by all of the experiences here in time and space. You will wake up. All humanity will wake up. Why? Because all humanity is God. And God doesn't sleep, nor slumber. So forgiveness offers everything that I want. It is God's plan. Forgiveness, again, not the forgiveness that we think of when we say, well, somebody did something wrong, but I'm going to let them off the hook. That's not forgiveness. That's just setting someone up that's just setting you up for more pain when you think that way. No. Pure forgiveness, real forgiveness is all encompassing. Nothing happened. Regardless of the degree of what we think the event was. Even unto death. Even unto the death of the body. Because in reality, there is no death. So this is how crucial, this is how important, this is how critical that we come to an understanding of this reality of forgiveness. And reality of forgiveness is not a eternal reality in the sense that it's not needed in your reality, in heaven, in that wakened state. Forgiveness has no role. Why? Because in heaven there is there's nothing to forgive. So it is just a temporary portal, temporary way out to wake up from the dream. But it's an important way. It's the only way. It is the only way. When I say it, forgiveness is the only way. To forgive is to give up what we made for what God created. That is what forgiveness is. That's basically what we're doing. We're forgiving one perception for another. That's what forgiving is. And forgiving is for receiving also, because giving and receiving are one and the same. Because when we forgive or when we release our brother, we release ourselves all at the same time. Giving and receiving is a God concept. Unlike man's concept of giving and receiving is two separate acts. No, it's one act. What you give is what you receive. What you are experiencing in your life is what you have been giving. So if you want to change what you're experiencing or what you're receiving, you have to change what you're giving. And it's easy. It's simple. Why? Because you want what you want for yourself. You want goodness and joy and prosperity and health and peace of mind and rest and tranquility and purpose. And that's what we all desire. We all desire the same thing. Well, when we learn this concept of giving and receiving, and we just make a perception or a switch or a change or we shift. We no longer become this victimizer, and we no longer hold on to the idea of being a victim. We become this loving being that we are, and we just begin to be the light that we are. Just that simple. Doesn't take repentance. Doesn't take a priest. Doesn't take a priest or a pastor or a minister or an evangelist. It doesn't take four walls of a synagogue or a church or a mosque, or it doesn't take a religious path. It doesn't take a book or nothing. Doesn't take any of these tools. These tools are good, but it doesn't take those. All it takes is a little willingness on our part to want to know the truth. just a little willingness in the light that you are will guide you into what all truth. And the truth that you know what will eventually set you free. So freedom comes through the knowing of truth. Grace and peace is multiplied through the knowing, through the knowledge. Through the knowledge that forgiveness offers everything that we want. Forgiveness. That's what offers you what you want. Not holding on to grievances or resentment or anger. Not holding on to a false image of yourself. Not trying to make something out of yourself that you're not. That which offers you everything you want is in the idea or the reality of forgiveness. It says, what could you want forgiveness cannot give you? Ask yourself the question. What is it that you really want that forgiveness could not give you? Do you want peace? Forgiveness offers it. Or do you want happiness? How about a quiet mind? All of us want certainty of purpose and a sense of worth and beauty that transcends the world. We all desire worth and beauty that transcend this world of separation that we find ourselves in, but we're not of it. We become of it when we go into it to try to find these things. But when we wake up in it, we realize that we have all these things because we have forgiven ourselves. We have forgiven the world. And it says, do you want care and safety? Who don't want care and safety? To be cared for and to be safe. There are billions of people now that will give their last to have some care and safety in their environment, in their mind, in their hearts. How about the warmth of sure protection? Always. Sure protection, it says it's a warmth. Who would not want these things? Who would not want these things that I just went through? Peace, happiness, a quiet mind, certainty of purpose, a sense of worth, beauty, care, safety, warmth, of sure protection always. Do you want a quietness that cannot be disturbed? Would you like to live an undisturbed life? It's possible. In this environment, you can live an undisturbed life. He said, would you want that? A gentleness that never can be hurt? Do you realize that you are invulnerable? You can't be hurt. You can't be destroyed. Jesus knew that, and he demonstrated that. Even when he appeared to be vulnerable on a cross, nailed to a cross, he knew in his mind at that time, because he did not identify with body identification. He knew that it wasn't himself. And that's why he was able to forgive in that position. In the position where he was most vulnerable on a cross. He said, what? I forgive them. What? Because they know not what they do. See, it gave them everything that he wanted. Everything that Jesus wanted, it was in the forgiveness. He knew that. We don't know that quite yet. We're learning that. So he says, in gentleness, a gentleness that never hurts. You are impregnable. You are invulnerable. You're not a vulnerable person. Who you really are is timeless and formless, as innocent. You are invulnerable. You cannot be hurt. You cannot be destroyed. You are an eternal, infinite being. You are God. You are what God is. God is what you are. You are invulnerable. The mind that's separated thinks that it's vulnerable. It thinks that it can be destroyed. It thinks that it can be hurt. It thinks that it can be what? It only knows sin, consciousness, guilt, and fear. So it has a belief system. We call it the ego thought system. That becomes a veil and a cloak to reality. And we're here, what? Lifting the veil, lifting the cloak. Through what? The knowledge. Grace and peace has been multiplied to us through this knowing, through this awareness. So a gentleness that never can be hurt, a deep abiding comfort. A deep and abiding comfort. Jesus said, If I go away, I will send you another comforter that will be in you, in all of us. And that comforter is here and it's in us. It's as us. That comforter is one with us. It's not a separate being. It's not a separate self. It's a formless, timeless, in time, in form that pervades all of us. We're just not aware of its presence. It's called love's presence. In some religious communities, we call it the Spirit or the Holy Spirit. Again, we can get caught up into these names. We can get caught up in tradition and miss the idea. But we're going to look past words. We're all about reality. So we're here using words, but we look past the words. We don't allow words to get us stuck. Words are only pointers. They only point us. They are not the way. They point us in the right direction, inwardly. And so what about a rest so perfect that it cannot be upset? This is tremendous. This is what forgiveness offers. It said all these forgiveness offers us and more. It sparkles on your eyes as you awake and gives you joy with which to meet the day. Forgiveness does. When you have a forgiving mind, this is what the mind is capable of allowing us to see, to perceive, allowing us to experience. A sparkle in our eyes. Joy that meets the day. Our day becomes joyous. Why? Because we know who we are. We know the difference between the real and the unreal. It says, it gives us, it said, it soothes our forehead. We're not always uptight, always full of anxiety when we accept the gifts of forgiveness, when we have released ourselves and released others from our anger, from our grievances, from our resentment. It causes the forehead to be smooth. It says, it causes the forehead to smooth while we are asleep and rest upon our eyelids so that we see no dreams of fear and evil. So even it affects our dreams. When we are holding grievances, we dream of terror. We have nightmares when we're holding people in contempt. It affects everything. It says, we have no dreams of fear, evil, malice, or attack. When our heart is pure and we have released everyone, most importantly, released ourselves from the false idea of separation. It says, and when we awake again, it offers us what? Forgiveness offers us another day of what? Happiness and peace. So every day can be a day of happiness and peace. It can happen in your life. In the midst of all of this, it can happen. In the midst of everything that's going on, happiness and peace and rest and tranquility can be your experience. It says, and when you wake again, it offers you another day of happiness and peace. All this forgiveness offers you and more. And let's go on. Let's see what else it says. It says, forgiveness lets the veil be lifted up that hides the face of Christ in everyone, right? The face of Christ really is everyone, because all of us are of this one self we call the Christ. It says, it lifts the veil that hides the face of Christ from those who look with unforgiving eyes upon the world. So all those that are walking in darkness, believing in separation, having unforgiving thoughts, walking in the fear, the consciousness of guilt and sin. It says, Forgiveness, let that veil be lifted that hides the face of Christ to those. It gives. So when we walk in this awareness, when we walk in our reality, we are actually impacting others, just our presence, to allow them to have a sense of an opening of a portal, a place to release their unforgiving thoughts. We become that for them. Oh yes, oh yes. Your life has what deep meaning and good purpose. So we're now here as ambassadors for the what? For the reality, for the kingdom, ambassadors for Christ, ambassador for the oneness. It says, it lets us recognize what God created. All humanity. It lets us recognize, it says the Son of God, which basically is what God created. It lets us realize that what God created has not changed. It says, and clears our memory of all dead thoughts so that the remembrance of our Father can arise across the threshold of our minds. This is all that forgiveness gives to us. It says, what would you want forgiveness cannot give? What gifts but these are worthy to be sought? What fancied value, trivial effects, or transient promise, never to be kept, can hold more hope than what forgiveness brings? There's nothing in this world that can give you what forgiveness gives. No value, no trivial effect, or it says what transient. Transient means what? It's transitory. It's changing. What physical thing? What event? What activity? What relationship? What other things of this transient world can give you that you would want instead of what forgiveness offers, which is everything? It says, why would you seek an answer other than the answer that will answer everything? Here is the perfect answer given to imperfect questions, meaningless requests, and half-hearted willingness to hear, and less than halfway diligence and partial truth. Here is the answer. Seek for it no more. You will not find another one instead. In other words, forgiveness is the only way out of our suffering. It's the only way out. It's the only way out of your suffering. It's the only way to lift the veil of what you've made, to lift the veil of illusions, to lift the veil of vain imaginings, to lift the veil of senseless events and activities that we see, to lift the veil from a world that is what? A world that appears to be headed to total disaster, total what? Total destruction. The only way out of it is through forgiveness. You look at what's happening in our world and how they're trying to solve the issues. We've been trying to solve the issue for what? Thousands and thousands of years, and it's not been solved. The world is at a Mexican standoff. And excuse my use of that word. It's not to demean any group of people, but it's at a standoff where truth and illusion are standing, and the truth will continue to stand, and the illusion will begin to what? Fade away. And so it says, here's the answer. Seek for it no more. You will not find another one instead. There's nothing in the world that can answer, that can bring you the joy, the peace, the happiness, or reveal it to you, or what help you to recognize that it's already present in you. Then this act of forgiveness, the reality of forgiveness. It said, God's plan for salvation cannot change. Why? God is changeless. It says, nor can it fail. Why? Because God is And that's it. God is. There's no failure in God is. The idea of failure doesn't exist. How can that which is complete and whole, how can that which is all intelligent, infinite intelligent, how can it fail? How can it not remain as it is? It says, be thankful. It remains exactly as he planned it. Changelessly, it stands before you and me like an open door. Forgiveness is like an open door. And it bids us come. It says, with warmth and welcome calling from beyond the doorway. It is our forgiveness. It is through forgiveness, our acceptance of it. It's through our giving of it. It's through our receiving of it. That this warmth, that this calling, that this welcome bids us to enter in and make ourselves at home where we belong. And that's the promise that God said, well, all humanity will eventually come back home. He guarantees that. All of us will eventually come to know the truth of who we are through forgiveness. So at some point, we're going to have to release and let go. Release and let go of what we made. And when we release and let go of what we made, only thing that remains is what God created. And what God created is loveliness. What God created is you and me, and we are loveliness. We are absolute beauty, joy and peace and happiness and tranquility. Yes, that's the truth that sets us free. So here's the answer. Would we stand outside while all of heaven waits for us to come within? No. So what? Forgive and be forgiven. Forgive and be forgiven. Jesus said, give and it shall be given. Here it says, forgive and be forgiven. It's the same thing, because giving and receiving is just one act of love. When you forgive, you are forgiven. In the sense that, remember now, we're talking about this part of us that's separate, this mind that's seemingly separate and don't know reality. That's what we're talking about, because in reality, you are forgiven. In reality, there is nothing to forgive. We're just bringing, again, this harmonizing. We're being transforming this mind that appeared and went prodigal. So all this is directed, this course is written and directed at the point that we think we are in this separated mind. Because remember, in reality, nothing is separate. So we're within the dream, reconciling reality and unreality. So, we want to always remind ourselves that, hey, this course is written at the level of the mind that believe it's separated. But in reality, the mind has not. But in order for us to reconcile or have the experience of this reconciliation, this is the process we have to go through to re-enter into that which we haven't left. So he said, forgive and be forgiven. That's it. Why stand outside? Why remain in a place of suffering? This has nothing to do with the desires of your heart. This has nothing to do with the things you have or possess. This has nothing to do with your relationship. This has to do with your real core self. This has to do with your peace of mind. This has to do with your embracing reality, your joy, and your freedom. This is where we are. We are deep. We are deep into your core self. We're not on the surface anymore. We have left it at rudimentary. Remember, we said we've left the elementary things of religion. We're in the real thing here now. We're really talking about, you really want to be free? This is what we're talking about. We're not talking about religion. We're not talking about evangelizing people. That's not where we is. No, we're in your home. We're in your shoes. We're in your mind. We're in your heart. where you choose to be what? Released. Where I choose to be what? Released from the imprisonment of a tiny mad idea. Once and for all, to walk in the what? Glory, to walk in the light, to have the direct experience. I want to experience my reality. That's what this is all about. It's not about playing church or playing religion. This is about, hey, one-on-one here, God. Okay, what's the deal? I don't understand none of this. Bring me into some understanding. This is what we're doing. So forgive and be forgiven. As you give, you receive. See, giving and receiving is one act. That's why you have to understand this reality. Giving and receiving is one act of love. To forgive is to be forgiven. It says, there is no plan but this for the salvation of what God created. Say, let us today rejoice that this is so. For here we have an answer, clear and plain, beyond deceit, in its simplicity. This is very simple. A child could understand this if we explained it to them. It says, all the complexity of this world has spun a fragile cobweb, has spun a fragile cobwebs, or has spun a fragile cobwebs disappear before the power and the majesty of the extremely simple statement of the truth. So this simple statement that forgiveness offers us everything we want. It undoes the cobweb of complexities that we have formulated. The world seems to be complex. The world that we made is complex. The reality is that there's only simplicity. Simplicity means what? One. Really simple. It's not billions and billions and billions, but it's one. When the eye is single, the body is full of light. One. That's what he's talking about. So here is the answer. Do not turn away in aimless wandering again. Accept salvation now. It is the gift of God. That is what salvation is. When we come to an awareness, when we come to a recognition that we've been holding on to something that we don't want, something that we made that is fearful and fragile and changing and unstable and uncertain. We've been holding on to that in our thought life. We've been holding on to a thought life or a thought system that is not designed to bring us peace. So when we come to a recognition of that, when we come enlightened to that reality, we let it go. And what is left is only that which is what? Only that which is God, only that which is love, only that which is our true self. It's just that simple, very simple. It says, here's the answer. Do not turn away in aimless wandering again. Accepting salvation now. Accept salvation now. It is the gift of God and not of the world. So it is through our acceptance of what is. Like at night when you take all your clothes off, the only thing that is left is what was always there. We accept what's already there. Love is always present. The presence of love is everywhere. The presence of God is everywhere. The presence of your reality is everywhere. It's revealed through what? Through the undoing, through the releasing, through the forgiveness. What is revealed of your true self, that's where it comes. And we can't hold one grievance, not one resentment. Because if we hold one, we hold them all. We have to let everyone go free, including ourselves. We have to let every situation become meaningless to us. Everything, all of it. Can't hold anything back. Love must be total. Love must be total. And there's one that is within you that will always let you know where you are not being loving or where you're still holding a grievance. Your true self lets you know. The world can give no gifts of any value to a mind that has received what God has given as its own. it leaves no room. Where love is complete, where love is all encompassing, it leaves no rooms for tiny bad ideas. It leaves no room for grievances. It leaves no room for what? Resentments or anger. It said God wills salvation be received today, and that the intricacies of our dreams no longer hide their nothingness from us. So today we're going to open up our eyes and look upon a happy world of safety and of peace. Forgiveness is the means by which it comes to take the place of hell. In quietness, it rises up to greet us and to greet our open eyes and fill our hearts with deep tranquility as ancient truths, forever newly born, arise in our awareness. It all arises within our awareness. Why? Because it's already there. It arises from within. There's nothing out there. It's all rises from within. What we've seen out there is what we're projected. And now, as what rises from within is loveliness only, what we will perceive is love only. We become what? Light only. Not that we become it. We finally remove the veil and the covering to let the love that we are and the light that we are be revealed. It says, what you will remember then can never be described, yet your forgiveness offers it to you. Forgiveness offers us all of this. Remembering the gifts forever gives. It says, remembering the gift forgiveness gives, we understand our practice today in hope and faith that this will be the day salvation will be ours. Earnestly and gladly, we will seek for it today, aware we hold the key within our hands, accepting heaven's answers to the hell we made. What is the key? Forgiveness. But where we would remain no more. So the world, the life we created, what we created is hell. So if there is a hell, it's the one that we created. But the answer to it is heaven. It's when we release our brothers and sisters, when we release ourselves, when we release every thought of being unfairly treated, heaven will be revealed unto us from within, because we no longer got it covered up by the hell we made. So hell is not real. It's an illusion, but we make it. We make our own hell by what? Not forgiving, for holding on to grievances. It creates our own hell. It says, morning and evening, do we gladly give up 15 minutes of an hour to search in which the end of hell is guaranteed. Begin in hopefulness, for we have reached a turning point that the road becomes far easier, and now the way is short that yet we travel. We are close indeed to the appointed ending of the dream. So it says, today it will be given to us to feel the peace forgiveness offers, and the joy the lifting of the veil holds out to us. Forgiveness offers us everything we want. Today, all things we want are given unto us. It's already given through forgiveness. We have to receive it. And we have to give it and receive it. It says, let not our gifts recede throughout the day, as we return again to meet a world of shift and change and bleak appearances. Retain our gifts in clear awareness as we see the changelessness, or we see the changeless in the heart of change. Light of truth behind appearances. So we look beyond the appearances of this world and see the light that is only present. We look beyond the events and the activities. We look beyond all the falsities and only see the light and loveliness that is there. And we're seeing from within. It says, be tempted not to let these gifts slip by and drift into forgetfulness. So it's our forgetfulness that causes us to, and puts us in a place where we realize that we have slipped back, that we are following the wrong guide, that we're listening to the ego's thought system, that we're holding people in contempt, that we're withholding our love from others and from ourselves. It comes to what? Forgetting. Today is the day of remembrance. Jesus said, do this what in remembrance of me. Do this what? Accept the gifts. Accept the gifts. Forgive and be forgiven. Do this in remembrance of me. That's what he did. There's no other plan. There's no other way. It's just that simple. He says, behold, it says what? It says, but hold them firmly in your mind. Hold what? The gifts of God. It says, hold them firmly in your mind by your attempts to think of them at least a minute as each quarter of an hour passes by. So all during the day, we're going to think of what forgiveness gives to us. Everything. All of the gifts that we talked about. All of the loveliness we talked about. All of the peace and the joy. All of the happiness and the quiet mind and the certainty of purpose and the sense of worth and beauty. The care and the safety and the warmth of sure protection. We talked about comfort and quietness. All these things forgiveness gives us. It says, so what? We're going to remind ourselves of these during the day. Remind yourself how precious are these gifts, which with this reminder, which has power to hold your gifts in your awareness through the day. So today, we're going to remind ourselves that forgiveness offers everything we want. Every cotton picking thing we want. It's in our forgiveness. Giving it and receiving it. Constantly. It says, today we have accepted this as our truth. We have accepted the gifts. We have accepted this reality as our truth. And today we have received the gifts of God. And God gives our abundance. God gives the abundance of grace and the gift of righteousness to allow us to reign in this now moment through oneness, through the reconciliation, through the reality of who we are. How beautiful is this? How beautiful is forgiveness? And God takes the final step. We do our part, and this is our part. This is God's plan. We are a vital part of God's plan for salvation. So we release the world. We release everything. We're free. Just like that. Just that simple. Not complicated. Thank you so much for being with me. This was Workbook Lesson 122. Forgiveness offers everything I want. Go out today in peace and be of good courage and forgive the world. Forgive others. Forgive yourself. Hold fast to that which is good, the gifts of God. Render no evil. Strengthen those that are weak and faint in heart. Help those that are afflicted. Honor all humanity. Love and serve the world with your light. Thank you so much. Namaste.